The Ravagers, issue 10, written by Michael Allen Nelson and Tony Bedard, art by Ig Guara and Diogenes Nevis. So last two issues, we had that whole thing about the Ravagers versus Rose Wilson and Warblade in that weird little town. And Harvest discovered that Rose and Warblade went off script, and he's pissed off with them. This issue picks up with Harvest talking to Deathstroke, basically hiring him to take out all of the Ravagers, like our team, not his team. And he's like, yep, so if you have everything you need, the only thing you have left to take is this, Mr. Wilson. And he's like, oh, the Abio blade. I don't know. Regardless, he's like, I don't want to use it. I want to use my own sword. And he's like, well, I'm paying you a lot of money, and you're going to use this damn sword, okay? And he's like, fine, whatever, I'll take your sword. So then we cut over to Rose and Warblade, who are currently fighting off a bunch of Harvest goons, and Warblade's like, oh my god, Harvest turned on us. And it's like, no, clearly he knows that we betrayed him. That's obviously what's happening here. And it's like, okay, well, if he knew that, he would be sending out the big guns right now instead of all these goons. And then all of a sudden this giant warship appears out of nowhere, shoots down a bunch of what are called butcher bots that are just tiny little drones that are going to kill them all. And Rose is like, you were saying? So then we cut to the Ravagers, who are still inside the safe house. And Thunder's basically just telling a funny story about how there was this one guy with Harvest who was like a bloodhound. He had a really keen sense of smell, and he gave Beast Boy a hard time all the time. So Beast Boy one day turned into a skunk and sprayed him. And it didn't make it any easier for Beast Boy, but boy was it funny. And he's like, hey, thanks for telling that story in front of Tara here. She's going to call me like Fart Boy from now on. And Tara's like, actually, I think it was pretty smart. So then Caitlin turns to Miles Calder and it's like, hey, they're actually laughing about their time in Harvest. This is great. Like, you've actually made them feel safe. And so Ridge walks out of the room and he's like, so funny, you guys. I'm so glad I have friends like you. And then all of a sudden, he freezes up and shrinks down into the form of a small boy. And I mean like 6 years old. And then we see him calling out to Tara, saying like, oh, Tara, could you come here for a minute? And it's like, Ridge, why do you sound so funny? So then we get the story from Beast Boy saying, hey, remember that time when I caught your sister raiding the fridge? And Thunder's like, hey, remember that time that my sister saw a red mouse watching her in the shower? And Beast Boy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't me at all. But, by the way, I'm sorry for bringing up your sister. And Thunder's like, hey, don't worry about it. I think it's good to think about her now. She may be lost, but it's nice to talk about her. So then they ask if Niles and Caitlin have any funny stories to share. And Niles is about to share one. And then Caitlin just immediately shoots him down, just being like, I've never done anything embarrassing in my entire life, and you're not going to ignore anything this man says. And then Tara re-enters the room and is like, guys, we need to check on Ridge here. And they come across the small boy and he's like, hello, do you happen to have any Legos in this place? And Caitlin's like, hello, small child, how did you get into this safe house? And it's like, oh, it's me, it's Ridge. I'm a boy. I'm a real boy now. And Niles is like, okay, so A, it turns out that you weren't really a teen, you were a child. And B, your form that we were all familiar with is strictly due to feeling threatened. And now that you're calm and in a safe place, you just turn back into a normal kid. And just like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So they want to run some tests. Beast Boy and Tara are talking, and they're just like, oh, wow, do you even remember what it's like being a kid? No? How about we go out and hit the town? Let's have fun. So cut back to Rose and Warblade. They're about to get overrun by these butcher bots when Warblade gets the idea to go into the ship that they arrived on, have the butcher bots follow them in, have the ship self-destruct, and then they just take an escape pod out. And all of that happens, and they're like, okay, so the only way to get back into Harvest's good graces is to bring back his runaway Ravagers. So we have to go get them, or else we're going to die. So then we cut to Los Angeles, where Tara and Beast Boy are on a quote-unquote date, and like she holds Beast Boy's hand, and he's like, humana, I can't believe this, but there's so many people watching them because he stands out in the crowd. And then Tara, as they're inside a toy store, Tara turns to Beast Boy and be like, hey, you know, we've been out on sound for a while here. Why haven't you tried to kiss me yet? And Tara's like, uh-oh, I guess people are watching. And Beast Boy's like, let them watch. And so he plants one on Tara. So then we see Niles talking to Thunder, who's having another one of his migraines. And he's like, hey, you got a migraine. That's cool. I need you to come with me real quick. And he's like, okay, sure, whatever. So they go into this big old scary looking chair. And he's like, I really don't want to sit in the scary looking chair. It's like, you don't have to. I just need you in this room to scan your brain. And then they activate the chair. And as it turns out, Lightning is back. He brought Lightning back to life. And Thunder runs over and hugs her and just being like, oh, is it really you? You're alive? And we see Tara and Beast Boy re-arriving from their date. Ridge runs up and he's like, hey, did you get anything for me? He's like, matter of fact, we bought you some Legos. And he's like, awesome. So then they enter into the kitchen. They see that Lightning's alive. And they get the full scientific explanation that apparently it was due to this psychic link and then quantum fluctuations and blah, blah, blah. Lightning is alive and it's actually genuinely her. So Caitlin's like, all right, well, everything's been going great. I'm sure nothing's going to bring us down now. So then that night, Ridge is going to the fridge. He's getting some food. And he all of a sudden gets a flash of his mother being pregnant. And it turns out that Ridge was not only taken as a child, he was literally taken from his mother's womb and has been raised in Harvest Care since. And he's like, oh my God, I have a mother. I'm so happy. And then Deathstroke comes up from behind him and kills him. He kills this 7-year-old boy. He sticks the knife through Ridge's back and he bursts into flames and dies. And Deathstroke just says, one down. So, like, isn't that just the thing in storytelling? When anybody has it too good for too long, immediately things are going to go south. I get that. That's obvious that that's going to happen. But the fact that they opened it with killing Ridge, who only just now is like, I'm a real boy, and I have a mother, and I can remember her, and I can find her. Oops. That feels so much more extra than it needed to be. But I also kind of love it. Like, the fact that it's like, no, the world has constantly crapped all over you, and they will continue to do so. Don't ever think you're going to be happy. Anyway, yeah, it's a fine enough issue. I mean, I don't really have any problems with it, but it is kind of a setting up for the final couple issues here, because this one did get canceled at issue 12, so we've only got 2 left on that. It's going to be interesting to see which Ravagers actually managed to make it to the end of this. If you've been keeping up with Team 7, Caitlin Fairchild seemingly is not herself, because they had a whole thing where the actual Caitlin may have died. So I don't know. Maybe Harvest was part of that book or something like that. But regardless, there's a lot going on. I'm sure we'll unpack it all. But for this particular issue, I'll give it a 7. It's very low 7, but it is still a 7. So looking forward to seeing how these last 2 issues manage to wrap up this book that, frankly, I felt had no purpose of existing at the beginning, but it's kind of won me over a little bit in recent issues. So kudos on that.